Good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner. It's Monday, July the 4th, Independence Day in the USA. So they're all off celebrating getting away from the UK. Sort of can't blame them at the moment. There you go. Morning, Ollie. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm actually down in Cornwall. Not Cornish mining, actually just having a slightly more relaxing time working from Cornwall, WFC. Which is probably sensible because I don't think there's a vast amount of news around today, is there?
No, it's fairly quiet, although there's an update from Farfinch and a whole load of news out of Mali, which is interesting. So in January, the rest of the ECOWAS countries put sanctions on Mali for saying they weren't going to hold the elections that were planned, and that's meant the borders have been closed, logistics and all that sort of thing have been very difficult, and the country's defaulted on over $300 million worth of debt during that time. So that has had an impact on companies operating in Mali, and Farfinch has today announced that it's missed its guidance for the quarter, producing about 13,000 ounces instead of 17 to 20. They've withdrawn their full year guidance as a result, and they expect to come out with some more detailed, updated guidance in the next quarter. But as it happens, those sanctions have actually been withdrawn yesterday, I think. There'll be sanctions remaining on individual ministers and that sort of thing, but the borders should now be reopening, which will make some of the issues that Farfinch has certainly faced, which has included getting equipment to site and reagents, consumables, that sort of thing, which has had a knock-on impact on their working capital position. So that should start to ease, but they are going to have to implement a sort of short-term change to their mining plan to boost production at the loss of working on their larger, longer-term plans.
Yeah, I mean, it is a reminder, isn't it, that, Africa is a continent made up, I always forget the exact number, but of about 50 different countries, and you have to really understand what's going on in each country before you make an investment.
Yeah, and the other important thing to note from that announcement is actually because Farfinch raised their financing in Australian dollars, because of the exchange rate movements we've had recently with the Australian dollar weakening quite a lot, that's actually impacted the value of the US dollar capital that they have ready to deploy, because obviously that's what they're buying most of their equipment in country.
Yeah, dollar is obviously very strong against every currency. Actually, we often hear people saying the pound is weak. It's weak against the dollar, but it's actually not weak against necessarily other currencies. Any other news you want to comment on, Ollie?
Well, conveniently, with those sanctions being lifted, Barrick has decided to celebrate its 25th anniversary of operating in Mali and how successful they've been over that time. Highlighting jobs, taxes, and community project that they've undertaken. Otherwise, it's fairly quiet morning. I see Anglo Pacific have now RNS the news about private company Brazilian Nickel, but Paul and I covered that at the end of last week.
Yeah, I mean, the CEO of Barrick Gold, Mark Bristow, never knowingly undersold. He's very good at telling a good story, shall we say. Okay, well, let's call it a day there, Ollie, because I say it's a quiet day. America's left us in peace. We'll speak again tomorrow, or maybe with Paul, whoever's about in the office.
Yeah, speak to you then. Cheers.
Okay.